There is a very outgoing and ambivalent quality to the Ascendant in Sagittarius that is unmistakable to understand. There's a quality of generosity, of excitement, of enthusiasm. These people are very much out and about. They want to be social. They want to engage with life. They're all about learning. They have carne interests, as I like to say, and they're all about exploring the world around them. In this video, I'm going to give a detailed breakdown on what it means if you have the Ascendant Sagittarius in the birth chart. This video may be longer than the other videos. I don't know how long it's going to be because my Ascendant is in Sagittarius. I don't know if the video is going to be longer than the other videos, but my Ascendant is in Sagittarius. So this is my video. So if you have your Ascendant Sagittarius, that automatically means that your Jupiter placement, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, is your chart ruler. So you want to look at your Jupiter sign to give a more in-depth flavor and look on how you express your Ascendant Sagittarius, whether you're more open and outgoing or more deep and philosophical and introverted. It all depends on your Jupiter placement. Without further ado, let's get into it. But before I do, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Everett Cardy. Welcome to my YouTube channel, where I make videos on astrology and spirituality. There's general astrology videos and weekly astrology videos that I do that have a lot of depth in them. And so I'm very excited to do this video on the Ascendant Sagittarius. So let's get into it. So the very first thing that we need to know about Sagittarius rising people is that they're very adventurous. They have a great sense of adventure to them. They want to explore the world around them. They want to go on those adventures. They want new experiences. Life is a novelty to them. They want change, they want stimulation, they want excitement. They don't want the boring, same old, boring routine over and over again. And the other thing here is that they need their freedom. They cannot be tied down or boxed in. They need their freedom to go wherever their soul and heart is calling for them to go. Not necessarily their ego, but their soul. And so Sagittarius rising children, when you express your rising sign when you're a child, are very much connected to your heart and soul, connected with that innocent wisdom of wanting adventure, of wanting expansion and growth. And so there's an enthusiasm to Sagittarius rising individuals, and I certainly embodied that when I was a child growing up. For the first 10 years of my life, I was definitely, um, you know, very much outgoing, wanting to engage with life, wanting to learn new things, having all these great ideas, wanting to act upon them, making things up, doing pretend games, whatever I enjoyed doing. It's very Sagittarian growing up. There's a sense of optimism to these people. They're very hopeful. They have a lot of hope in the future. They look at life very positively, very optimistically, very in a glass half full kind of way. They have a lot of faith in life and faith in spirit, faith in the divine, faith in philosophy. They have a lot of enthusiasm for life. They're also seekers of the truth. They shoot their arrows high into the sky to reach a new destination, which is an expansion of their truth. They're all about seeking truth, being seekers of the truth, searching for meaning, searching for truth. Once they find those true answers, that's what makes them feel happy. That's what makes them feel at peace. And the same could be said for a seven life path in numerology. They're also very wise. There's a wisdom to them that is undeniable. They're on the go, they're on the fly, they want to be up and at it. very outward, very active. They're always wanting to go to new places, do different things. That's their nature. They don't want to have people limiting their visions, limiting their grand plans and goals, limiting their ideas. Sagittarius rising children and grown-ups have to have the space to express what their soul is longing to express, to do whatever their soul is calling them to do, to explore whatever their soul is calling them to explore unapologetically and uninhibitedly. That is the very cornerstone of this placement. They can be big-hearted, they can be very generous, they can also be very helpful. There's a strong desire to help somebody that is less fortunate than yourself and making a positive impact on somebody else's life, being of service to them in some way, wanting to spread philosophical kindness and wisdom onto others, guiding others, being a guiding light for others. People with a Sagittarius rising can, and I'm not saying everybody, but has the potential to see things from a big picture, see things from abroad, seeing the forest for the trees kind of thing. And through this perspective, through this optimistic big picture perspective, they can help people get a higher perspective, a higher vantage point, and a new perspective on life. They're open to new ideas. They are really, really curious, almost an unbiased curiosity, but I would argue that was more for Gemini rising. Sagittarius does include a bias and an opinionated sense. And people with the Sagittarius rising are very opinionated. They have opinions about everything. They have opinion about a lot of things in their life. That is a very important trademark for this placement. They're also very passionate. People with the Sagittarius rising love to pursue their passions, whatever they're passionate. Say it's painting, or say it's cooking, or say it's building, or say it's music. Whatever it is, they are all about pursuing that area of passion. They view challenges as lessons to be learned, as learning opportunities, as growth opportunities for their soul. They view things from the silver lining through a positive light. Even the negative, the darkest things, they have this incredible talent and knack for viewing it in a positive light, seeing the positives for those experiences. They genuinely want to get to know themselves more deeply and do anything that they want to get to know themselves more deeply on a deeper level. They have a lot of self-confidence. They're very confident people. They're good in positions of leadership also. They demand integrity in their relationships. They demand the person to be genuine and true to his or her own nature and their own truth. They're very curious about the world around them. They're very open-minded. They're drawn to spirituality. So astrology and religion can be big areas of focus for them. Divination is another area of focus. And that certainly applies to me, having 73 Oracle card decks in my collection, and I'm really into spirituality and divination. So that would, be an application for me. So they're also they look at things in an unbiased light, in a curious light. And so they may lack the way. It makes them happy if, yes, there's a willingness to expand mind and body. There's a willingness to grow your mind, to expand your mind, to learn new things. There's a weight gain that can come from Jupiterian or Sagittarian individuals. 'Cause they're all about indulging and making the most of life. They don't care. about the organization, about the structure, about the discipline, about the, um, you know, cutting yourself back of certain pleasures. They want to experience it all. They want to indulge with life. And so there's a willingness to explore here. It's a willingness to uncover different things. They're restless and active people. They're always shooting the arrows to new ventures. They want to take on the world. They can also be very direct. They can also be very blunt, very truthful. They what they say rings true to what they feel in their soul, to what is actually the case of what is truthful. They're all about expressing that truth. They're very interested and excited in their views on things. There's an interest and an excitement on their views of things. They have a lot of that in their pocket. They tend to be very opinionated. As I've said before, they're very confident. They can also have very quick wit. Their sense of humor is very strong. They can find humor in a lot of things in life. And I do wish that I find humor in more things in life than I do. So there is an ability here to foresee the future and envision it. They have this, vision, this looking forward, looking ahead in their lives to see the future. The parts of the body that are emphasized with Sagittarius rising individuals are the hips and the thighs. There is an upright thinking and attention to the spiritual path. They're very upright with their posture. They think also in a very upright kind of way. They're very intuitive. What would be encouraged for them is to use their intuition to maximize it in this lifetime, to follow it, to trust it, to consider it. If you have this placement, you have highly spiritual aspirations as well as material desires. They're high-spirited people. And so they are all about living their dreams and visions for the future, embodying it, turning those things into reality. They like to keep going, they like to keep exploring, keep acting, keep doing, literally and figuratively. There is an idealistic quality to them also. They love to go after their goals. There's a great sense of fun and playfulness with these types of people. They're very philosophical. They're very convincing with big promises. They can get people on their side very easily. There's a generosity to them. They're all about seeing the big picture. Facial features. Their eyes are very big. They have a medium height. Their hands and feet can be also on the larger side, which is very good that my hands are on the larger side because I deal with divination cards. My hands need to be big enough to be able to manage holding the deck of cards. And so I'm very fortunate that my hands are the size that they are. I am a Sagittarius rising. Their lips are very full in nature. They may emphasize what they say with lively gestures. Um, they may have a sort of upbeat tone to their speech. In childhood, they may have questioned their family, the lifestyle their family was living when they were young. They're wanting truth, they're wanting freedom. They may come from an open-minded and highly educated family, probably with foreign roots also. And so the other thing to know about the Ascendant in Sagittarius is that their children with displacement are hungry for knowledge and adventure. And going back to what I said at the beginning of this video about having what I call carnate interests. that's very prominent for them. So that's what I have on the rising in Sagittarius in the birth chart. Thank you for tuning into this video. Like, subscribe, share, do all the things, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.